we're back. sorry for the 2-week episode gap, everyone. First time in 15 years we've done that. But this is finally episode 972 of the Relevant Podcast here in Orlando. I'm your host, Cameron Strang, and joining me from Loverland, Virginia, it's Jesse Carey.
Hello.
From Austin. No, where are you?
I don't
know. Houston, Texas. Downtown Emily Brown.
Hello.
And filling in for our very own Derek Miner today is Relevant Senior Editor Tyler Huckabee.
Howdy.
Derek is in DC as we're recording this right now, doing an amazing event with his organization called We Own Now, which helps address the racial wealth inequity gap, right? And so they are having some meetings in DC, some great artists and leaders are there. It's a really amazing event. He was very sad he missing the podcast, but it's for good reason.
I was going to say, that seems like a very worthy reason.
It's a word,
There's a reason to skip the podcast.
Join us for, pontificating about literally God knows what for the next hour.
Jamie Ivey is skipping the podcast because she is in Italy on a month-long vacation. So she's got a good reason. She's unplugging with her family. So that's a good reason. So it's, family show today. Now, Jesse, do we address why we missed a week of podcasting for the first time since 2005?
I mean, I have no issue. I was supposed to be in Wyoming with you, Cameron.
Derek, Prop, some friends, a bunch of us go out Wyoming or Montana every year. You were going, and 2 days before the trip, who calls who and says what?
I believe I texted you, and it was a picture of the dreaded positive COVID.
I thought you guys were having baby number 3. I thought at a glance, positive. Yay, congratulations, buddy. No.
They do look a little bit similar. They do at a glance. Like if you're not super familiar with either one, then you could go, is this a yay or is this good news or bad news?
Well, regardless, I said, oh no. So I got it right.
He texted me. I was wondering why he texted back just those praise hands. Like, wow, that's an odd one.
Like baby rattles.
Yeah. No, I I don't know, 48 hours before I was supposed to be on a plane, I started feeling, in my mind, it was just a cold. This will be nothing. And sure enough, long story short, it finally caught up to me, and I had a pretty rough weekend. The first weekend, I bounced back okay, but it was a lot of sitting in a room by myself binge watching while Cameron was showing the beautiful Wyoming countryside. But it was I knew it was a matter of time. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like at this point, if you haven't had it,
this was your first round, right? This was this was first time at bat. Was it about what you thought like COVID would be?
I didn't, to be honest, it hit me harder than I thought it was. Like, I knew that could happen.
You had a bad one.
Yeah. I knew it could be, very unpleasant, but it was worse than I thought it was going to be for me personally. But hey, back on my feet now. It was a bummer to miss the trip. But Cameron, I appreciate, has come back because I feel like, I'm trying to get my health back. And as soon as we signed on,
are you seriously? You're about to make fun of my water bottle.
Please do. I was going to bring it up eventually.
Basically, Cameron is drinking out of an industrial trash can size.
Those huge water jugs that you have to flip upside down in an office. That's my water bottle looks like right now. He
essentially has one of those with a handle, and I'm impressed that he's even lifting
Cameron.
it.
It's bigger than your head.
It's a gallon of water. It's a gallon of water in one water bottle. It's 128.
It's a milk jug. Yeah.
I'm intimidated by it, and I'm not even drinking that much water. But
I hate water, first of all. Hate it.
Sure.
But there's 128 ounces, and there's a little time indicator throughout the day. 11 a.m., you should be here, not, whatever, as you go down the day. And it gives you like motivational sayings.
Yeah, what's the language? What does it say?
It's like 7 a.m., ready, go. 9 a.m., go for it. 11 a.m., believe yourself. 1 p.m., remember your goal. 3 p.m., shoot for success. 5 p.m., don't give up. 7 p.m., almost there. 9 p.m. You made it.
I love it. It's like the Peloton instructor of water bottles. Like they're just cheering you on with motivational nonsense for the entirety of
a You Go Girl on there at some point. But
well, this was a gift from our very own Gabs. So it was a birthday gift for me a couple years ago, and I'm putting it to good use. Yeah, after a trip like Wyoming, there's several of us that are like, you know what, we need to kind of get some stuff in our lives back on track. So we're reading and praying and
starting off with
and drinking water,
an enormous amount of water every day,
exercising every day. Like we're literally like, okay, guys, we need to like shape up here.
I love it that you've combined, drinking what appears to be about 14 gallons of water along with positive self-talk in one thing. That's very impressive.
Hey, Amazon, it's amazing what you can find on Amazon.
Are you at your goal for where you're supposed to be right now?
Oh, that's a good question.
11. What time is it right now? It's 12 o'clock noon. I am halfway in between the 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. hash marks.
Okay.
So I'm right on pace.
Right.
I want one of those, but I want it to say things that, are just profoundly disappointed that you haven't drinking up to that point in the day yet. Like, seriously?
This is all?
Yeah, this is your kidneys talking. You're dehydrated. Come on now. You're better than this. Like, I want one that's a little harder edge to it.
Tough love.
Tough love water.
I've been doing this for a couple of days now, and I slept great last night. It was like, I don't know, the hydration. One of these is literally
Unfortunately, the water people are correct. It helps. I hate that they're right, but it does make a difference.
Sadly, other than a bottle of water, like if I'm doing a workout or something like that, just a normal living, this is more water than I've consumed in the last 3 months combined. I mean, this is like one day now. It is definitely going to do something. We'll see.
Cameron, if that doesn't work, this is a true thing. There's a senator here in the great state of Tennessee. And he has been photographed many times while sitting and making laws and keeping us safe. And well, in Tennessee, it's more about taking away laws, but you know what I mean? It's his job. And he has been photographed many times. I'll send you a picture of it. You guys can see in your text, drinking out of a bottle of Hershey's syrup while they're on the state floor. You can see the photo that I just sent you. And this is and what he claims when asked about this by reporters is that he's just very frugal. And whenever they get a bottle of Hershey syrup in the house, he rinses it out and uses it as a water bottle for a few days instead of actually getting a water bottle. I choose to believe that is a lie and that he just likes to drain Hershey syrup out of the bottle.
If that was true, he'd be showing up with ketchup and mustard bottles. Like, why is it only Hershey's syrup?
Why it's only Hershey's? That doesn't make any sense. Yeah. There's a lot of holes in the story. There's a little bit of like chocolate residue in it, so he's really just drinking chocolate. Like kind of a slightly sweetened like chocolate water. That sounds pretty gross. I don't know. It's not, I don't think it has the same motivational power as your water bottle, Cameron, but it is, everybody's got their own, whatever it takes to get hydrated. I'm proud of him. He sets a good example in his own way. In there? What if it's still just a normal chocolate syrup?
I think it's just Hershey's.
I do think so. That's my theory. It's my working theory. I don't know. I can't prove it, but I'm saying it.
It's almost like he didn't want to go through the hassle of chewing candy. He just like straight IV, pump it into my brains, liquefy it for me already. Just take a little.
It's like the brilliance of Fun Dip. It's like when I want sugar and I don't even want it in candy form. Just give me straight powder. It's a chocolate flask. That's the dude is a chocoholic. It's like what Willy Wonka would do.
I think if this was my thing.
Willy Wonka just like late in life off the rails. He's homeless or something. Just on the street, just chugging Hershey's,
just dumping it down the gullet. I think if this was my thing, I would get like I would have a water bottle and it'd be labeled something very conspicuous like just water or something like that. If it was actually Hershey's syrup, like no worries here. This is my water bottle.
I've seen TikToks of like people going on cruises and stuff, and you can't bring libations with you onto the cruise because they want to sell it to you. So I've seen TikToks of people taking like Listerine bottles, filling it with certain concoctions, and then putting a little blue dye in it or something, and that's the way they smuggle it. That's what you'd be doing. You'd be doing that with chocolate.
That'd be my thing.
Going in a Sprite bottle.
Going in the Sprite bottle. All right. Well, we have a great show in store for you today. Coming up later, Bryan and Katie Torwalt join us. Some of our favorite worship artists. They're awesome. They're coming up later. You don't want to miss it. We also have your feedback. Hilarious question of the week coming up. But stay tuned right now. Coming up next, it's Relevant Buzz. You're listening to Jordana. The song is Catch My Drift. Today's podcast is brought to you in part by Mercy Ships. Globally, 5 billion people lack access to surgical care. In sub-Saharan Africa, there's only one surgeon for every 200,000 people. Mercy Ships provides free, life-transforming surgeries for people who have little to no access to medical care. They help the blind see, straighten twisted limbs, remove deadly tumors, treat cleft conditions, and so much more. With state-of-the-art hospital ships, they provide safe surgery to children and adults living with treatable conditions, and it's completely free of charge. They do all this work with an all-volunteer crew of professionals who donate their time and talents. Surgeons, stewards, nurses, engineers, and more make the world a better place. Your donation today provides free, safe surgeries to people in desperate need of help. All gifts are matched, so please donate today at mercyships.org/relevant. Today's podcast is brought to you in part by Tim Tebow's book, Look Again. Have you ever wondered what would change if you truly believed you were infinitely valuable to God? In his New York Times bestselling book, Look Again, Tim Tebow reveals the powerful truth that when we learn to see the image of God in every person, including those we struggle to love, everything changes. Tebow shares incredible stories from his work with people the world often overlooks, and it will challenge you to stand up to the lies, rediscover the worth that everyone has, and impact the world for good. Find Look Again by Tim Tebow, available now wherever books are sold. Okay, it's time for Relevant Buzz. Please welcome to the podcast, Relevant Senior Editor Tyler Huckabee, who's been here the entire time telling us what's happening at the intersection of faith and culture this week. Hey, Tyler.
Hey, everybody. We're wearing a lot of hats today. It's a slim day.
It's like summer break. People coming and going. People wearing different roles. We got to fill in for each other. All right. So what's going on?
Well, with last week off, obviously it was a very busy week, and there was a lot of news to cover, of course, including the very, very tragic shooting down in Texas, which we've been covering extensively on the site. To learn more about that, head over to relevantmagazine.com, where we've been trying to stay as on top of that story as we can. A few things that kind of flew under the radar that I think are also worth noting that definitely fall under the relevant buzz. One, a big story, this is really interesting, and we're going to be trying to follow this one, was a story that came from M.I.A. The artist, she is her birth name is M.I.A, but I think she only goes now by M.I.A. She has a new album coming out, first one in a while. She went on the Apple Music One show to talk with Zane Lowe about it, and while she was there, she talked about her conversion experience and how in 2017 she had a vision of Jesus that convinced her to become a Christian. She said, this is a direct quote from that show. She said, "Being a Hindu, I was very comfortable, and I had arrived finding myself, which is, I think, going to be weird for America to process. But I had a vision, and I saw this vision of Jesus Christ. It was a very, very crazy thing, and it turned my world upside down. Everything I thought and believed was no longer the case. I think that was maybe a sign that something major was going to happen in the world, and that people were needing to be introduced to this concept. I always found the concept of Christianity quite basic compared to," and then she got a little flustered and she said, "Wow, this is going to be shocking. People are going to say M.I.A called Christianity basic." And then Zane says, "I think what people are focusing on, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're saying you're a born-again Christian now?" And then she confirmed that's the case. She said, "I am. I'm not going to lie. Then when I had this vision, it turned my world upside down. I couldn't let go of this side of me." And I think that's about why 50% of the record is sort of like that. And she's referring to the spiritual content on her upcoming album. I'm still me. That's still my language. Spirituality is the tool that I use to create beats and create sound like that. But the message and the history is, even if this cost me my career, I won't lie. I will tell the truth, and I will tell you what's on my mind and my heart. If I'm coming back now saying Jesus is real, there's a point for that. Basically, she says, all of my fans might turn against me, which is, if you've been following M.I.A.'s career, she has definitely made her Hindu religion a big part of her life. She's a displaced person. She was born in London, but she has made advocacy for displaced people around the world a huge part of her story. So this is a significant shift. She was not sort of quietly one religion and is quietly converting to another. And I think anytime, it's very rare for people to have sort of these late career, late personal life conversion stories. That doesn't happen very much. Typically, the religion that you're raised in is sort of the one that you have for a long time. But this is a really interesting, to me, I find these stories very fascinating. It's particularly interesting for somebody like M.I.A., for whom her religion as a Hindu had been such a huge part of her life. It'll be interesting to see where it goes from here.
And if some of you don't have amazing taste in music, here's a clip of a little bit of M.I.A. so you can kind of connect the dots.
Everyone's a winner, we're making our fame. Bonafide hustler, making my name. All I wanna do is take your money. All I wanna do.
That's awesome. Maybe a little foreshadowing that there maybe is more to come on the relevant. I don't know.
We'll see. Keep your eyes peeled. Watch this space.
I get excited.
Watch this space. So there's also, this is a story. This is one thing that we at Relevant try to do is we want to make sure that we're telling the truth. And if a story starts going around that is not the case, we want to try to debunk that and make sure that we're using it.
We're Mythbusters. We're going to put it to the test.
I love myth busting. Myth busting is that is gas in my tank.
Hobby.
I love doing it.
I seek out myths and then I bust them.
It's easy. I love doing it. And there is one that gained a lot of steam this week that is going around quite a bit, and it does kind of fall a little bit into our radar. So I want to make sure that we address it, and we're busting a myth here. So you may have seen, if you've been on the internet, you've seen what would be certainly a very troubling story that's been gaining traction in some circles, according to multiple outlets, including very well respected outlets. High schools in Oak Park, Illinois are introducing a new, what they're calling equity-based system of grading, which will, and this is a quote from these outlets, raise the grade point averages of Black students and lower scores of high-achieving Asian, white, and Hispanic ones, end quote. Now, that would obviously be very concerning if something like that were to happen. People were understandably outraged. They were, of course, blaming critical race theory and things like that, like this sort of like wokist regime that's now coming for the students' grades. And such a race-based grading system would be outrageous if it were true. But of course, this is not actually the case.
What?
Now, it is true.
Tyler, there's false information on the internet?
On the internet. Yeah, I know.
This is the first time it's ever happened.
This is disturbing news. I might need to relitigate some of the worldviews that I've developed from perusing social media sites for the last 5 years. Okay.
So yeah, this is if you saw this on the internet, I hate to break it to you, this is not actually a true story. This isn't what's happening. So it is true that Oak Park and River Forest High School is making some changes to its grading system that is going to try to account for things outside of students' control. So instead of docking grades for things like turning in assignments late or being late to class, teachers are going to try to adopt more lenient policies around things like late assignments and redos on exams. Now, these changes are being applied across the board, it's not like this does apply to students of one ethnicity and not to another. They're just they use some research that studied how to help kids succeed who are coming from difficult backgrounds and trying to remove some of those obstacles that are there for them, but maybe are a little bit easier for kids from more privileged or higher class backgrounds. But these are not being weighed in any sort of way that is different for different students from any sort of different background, racial, socioeconomic, or anything like that. So it is, according to the official statement that was released by the high school, they said they do not, nor have they ever had a plan to grade any students differently based on race. That did not stop an outlet called the West Cook News, which, as far as I can tell, is sort of patient zero here, from reporting that, quote, Oak Park and River Forest High School administrators will require teachers next school year to adjust their classroom grading scales to account for the skin color or ethnicity of its students. That story got picked up by the National Review, and then it was kind of off to the races for the rest of the internet without anybody doing any fact checking on it. And now it's too late, and now this school is getting all sorts of crazy, like these wild voicemails from people all over the country telling them they're being racist.
So was there any correction to the original?
Well, the Huckabee correction is going to roll out now. You're listening to the correction.
Yeah, you're part of the correction. The high school did put out their own correction. They did put out, which you can read over at relevantmagazine.com. I put it there in full, saying that they felt it was very unfortunate. It was this was all based on a single slide that did say, where they admitted this would help. They hope this would help people from different backgrounds have an easier time in school, but that was construed to mean that it would be, you would be weighting these grades in some sort of way. I was telling you this earlier this morning, Cameron. I think some people are just kind of like believing that our public schools are out of control and the wokeists are taking over and there's nothing we can do about it. Yeah. Even though actual evidence there isn't really. There's nothing tangible there.
But that's the thing.
You had me at evidence, Tyler. I'm more of a gut kind of guy. If something don't feel right, I just speculate wildly that it's the worst case scenario. So, you have your evidence.
It really stinks that evidence is always in air quotes now, because if somebody can hear actual evidence about something that they disagree with, they immediately are listening to it or assuming that, well, I can find other evidence to disprove you. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody believes evidence anymore, but oh well.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Well, you can have your facts, Tyler. I'll go with just pure
blind outrage.
My gut has never gone against me.
Except after I went to Waffle House that one night at 2 a.m. Ooh. And my gut definitely went against me.
Except like 60% of the time. But
thrice divorced, angry at the world. My gut's never wrong. Well, it's been wrong a few times. All right, what else you got?
Last story. This is just I kind of like when these stories happen. Emily, I know you've dug into a little bit. Jesse, have you dug into Stranger Things? Are you on the Stranger Things train at all? Do you have any? Is that your bag?
Not for since like season 1. I have a deep appreciation for the show and the concept and the style, but I feel like it's on the hierarchy of shows that I feel obligated to watch. It's pretty low right now, but I do appreciate it.
And Cameron, that was you too, right? Season 1.
He took the words out of my mouth. Watch season 1, understood the cultural phenomenon. Yeah, I get it. It's good. Haven't felt compelled to come back 3 more times. So,
I loved each more season than the last. So I will be the sole Stranger Things.
That's interesting, because most of the hot takes I see on the internet is that 2 and 3 were a letdown, but 4 is back to the glory years.
I think they are very different, but I liked them. So I wasn't let down by them. Okay, I do think that they have like a different tone than the first season. And I do think this season is getting back to the first one.
Interesting.
Have you seen the whole season yet? The latest season?
No, it takes like 20 hours to watch
the
season.
The thing. It's like, they're like 90 minutes to 2 hour long episodes. That's why I'm not doing it, honestly. I just don't have that kind of time.
I think the shortest one is like an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah, no thanks.
That's crazy.
No thanks. I got a lot going on. I'm a busy man.
See, I don't, and I think that's too long.
It's cutting into Cameron's water drinking time, which is now about 4.5 hours uninterrupted of the day.
Well, it is a cultural phenomenon. Obviously, it's far and away Netflix's most impact heavy show, and it's so impactful. And this is I found this to be very crazy. And Emily, we're not going to spoil anything here, but Emily, I believe if you're right, the song "Running Up the Hill" by Kate Bush is a very significant plot point, right?
Yes.
The 1985 Kate Bush jam "Running Up That Hill" factors in pretty heavily to.
I play it every time I go on my incline treadmill. Yeah.
You should just put it on the water bottle. So you're running up the hill.
Treadmill plays it automatically.
So this song it's an important part of the latest season of Stranger Things. It apparently has captured the minds and the hearts of a new generation who's hearing it, many of them for the first time on Stranger Things now. It became so popular that as of yesterday, we're recording this on Wednesday, June 1st, as of Tuesday, May 31st, it was the number one song on all genres on both iTunes and Spotify. This Stranger Things has that. That is a sort of cultural power that just not many shows have. And I am surprised that Stranger Things is still able to bring a song, let alone a 37-year-old song, to the very top of the charts based purely on, I guess, vibes. People just like it. You could have heard it at any point in the last almost 40 years. And now it's become a number one. It's becoming a phenomenon all over again. This does happen sometimes, but number one on Spotify and iTunes, that's tough, especially with a lot of new music out there right now. Like Harry Styles isn't number one on the charts.
Oh, all right.
I'm shocked go ahead.
I would say here we're going to toss to it. But if you're listening to this podcast at the gym, which many of you are, if you're on the treadmill, hit that little incline button a little bit. Notch it up, because the clip's coming. Here it goes. All right, here's Kate Bush. Very inspiring. Good vibes.
It's powerful.
I'm shocked, though, Highway to the Danger Zone is right now. Because I think we've all, at this point, if you're seeing the new Top Gun, you've seen it by the time you're listening to this. Yeah. You need to know a place within seconds of Tom Cruise appearing on screen, personally thanking you for going to see Top Gun. I mean, that's how the new Top Gun opens, with Tom Cruise admiring the fact that he released another Top Gun and you're there to watch it. Okay, all the cards are on the table.
Wait, what?
Yes.
What are you talking about?
You guys think
you saw it?
I did see it in IMAX.
I have not seen it yet. I have not seen it.
Emily, did you see it?
I have not.
In my theater, the film opens with Tom Cruise, not in character. He's just Tom Cruise looking directly into the camera. Thanking you for coming to see Top Gun. And I'm like, all right, you're welcome, Tom. Let's do it. And then Danger Zone starts.
I was at a Regal Cinema. That might have been an AMC exclusive edition.
Are you serious?
I don't know. I have no recollection of that happening.
Well, it was appreciated, Tom.
Did you see it like opening night? Like, when did you see it, Jesse?
Opening weekend. But I did watch.
I saw it opening weekend as well in IMAX. Mm-hmm. You'd think if anybody was going to get the special shout out, it's the people who paid double the cost to watch on a three-story movie screen. I didn't get any shout outs.
Well,
doesn't this mean that theoretically you could, if you go to the right showing, you could first see Nicole Kidman welcome you back to the movies, and then see Tom Cruise thank you for being at this movie? That's an interesting little confluence of pop culture history all in one.
I love that.
I couldn't be more excited. That would get. I hope this. I'm seeing it tomorrow. I'm seeing it on Thursday, and I will report back.
Report back if you get the greetings.
Yeah, I watched the original on Netflix the evening before I saw the new one, and it's, let's just say this filmmaking was different in the 80s. Okay? There are extended dialogueless scene of guys just kind of hanging out that don't serve the plot at all. I would say about 30% of that movie could be cut, and it would not affect the plot whatsoever.
I took my kid to see the new one, and he was like, I haven't seen the first one. I don't know what's going on. And I basically told him, this dude dies. This dude was the rival. That's all you need to know. You're good.
Yeah.
And then he loved the movie.
Well, the other thing about the original is if you rewatch it, they play Danger Zone. They just keep running it back. It plays no less than like 5 times.
Well, why wouldn't you? If you pay your one license fee, it's unlimited use after that. Go ahead and max it out.
Is it only a one-time thing?
No, I don't know. I'm just kidding. Well, maybe back in the 80s, they bought the song and they just want to keep playing it. Yeah. They couldn't afford 6 songs.
I think Kenny Loggins in the 80s would just write songs specifically. They're like, hey, we need a song for Caddyshack. He's like, all right, I'm going to write.
Of course they did.
Yeah.
That's how they made music. Think about like the Arthur soundtrack or theme song, Chris Christopherson, caught between the moon and New York City and stuff. It was the opening theme song to the movie Arthur. They wrote, and he literally described the plot of the movie in the song. They totally
wrote to bring that back.
I loved it. I loved it.
We got to bring that back. Like Prince did the Batman song. I think we talked about that like 89. We need more like
more commissioning
artists at the top of their games to be like, here's a script. Here's the vibe. Go. It still happens sometimes, but we need like the song to describe the plot of the movie.
Because they're doing like the artists at the top of their game, like the Minion soundtrack we talked about a couple of shows ago.
Sure. Yeah.
But they're not writing those songs for the plot of the movie. They're just licensing certain songs to the filmmakers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
remember back when Will Smith, every movie that Will Smith was in would end with him kind of recapping what just happened. In
Wild West.
Chorus. Those were the golden days of Hollywood.
It was like the opposite of a 90s sitcom where they basically just bring you up to speed on everything that's transpired in this family, and in the form of a 45-second little ditty. Will Smith, would just recap the film in the form of
that's hilarious. Rap. A, who thought of doing that, and B, why did it stop? Like, that is like such a weird thing if you think about it. But yeah. Wild West. And then there was a radio hit. It was just like the jingle from a movie. It's so random.
Will Smith should have done it for the Venus and Serena Williams movie. He should have done like the entire trajectory of the Williams sisters' career in rap.
It's a 20-minute ballad. Yeah, it's quite extensive. They've lived eventful lives.
The orchestra's playing. Oh, man. All right. Well, that'll do it for Relevant Buzz. For all the latest, make sure to make relevantmagazine.com part of your daily web browsing and follow us on all the socials. All right. Thanks, Tyler. Stay tuned. Up next, Bryan and Katie Torwalt join us.
You take it up the night, drinking all my wine. You act like you could cry, even when I take your side. Oh, baby, I guess I don't know how to try. I guess I don't know how to try. So tell me that you'll be alright, and tell me that I'm what you need.
You're listening to Sports. The song is Baby Baby. Now, it's Baby Baby, but it's not the original. It's not the Amy Grant version. And listening to Sports, you would think there would be a lot more, sneaker squeaking and stuff. Interesting. Today's podcast is brought to you in part by John Mark Comer's book, Garden City, a book that speaks to the tension we all feel between work, rest, and purpose. The New York Times bestselling author John Mark Comer takes us to the scriptures to identify what it really means to be human and flips the script on the idea that who you are matters, not what you do. He shows that God created us for meaningful work and meaningful rest. Both matter. This book helps you ask and answer the big questions. Does God care where I work? Is there a direction for my life? So you can discern God's heart for your calling, your rhythms, and the way His Spirit wants to shape every part of your life. If you're longing for purpose and a more grounded way to live, check out the new hardcover edition of Garden City wherever books are sold. Well, today's show is brought to you in part by the new book, God, the Science, the Evidence. We talk a lot about faith, but how often do we talk about science in the same breath? You might be surprised to discover just how deeply the two actually agree. For centuries, science has been used to dismiss the idea of God, but today an intellectual revolution is underway. Modern discoveries in physics, cosmology, and biology are consistently revealing the same truth: creation isn't an accident. That profound reversal is what engineers Michel-Yves Bolloré and Olivier Bonassi investigate in their international bestseller, God, the Science, the Evidence. This book is a rigorous, evidence-based critique of materialism, inviting you to explore over a dozen scientific, philosophical, and historical domains. It shows that what was once seemed impossible, that science could point to a creator, is now supported by a vast and convergent body of evidence. With over 400,000 copies sold in Europe, this book is sparking a global debate. It's thoughtful, fascinating, and a powerful reminder that reason itself affirms the existence of God. Learn more and find out where you can purchase your copy today by visiting godthesciencetheevidence.com. Today's podcast is brought to you in part by Erwin McManus's book, The Barbarian Way. Some books don't just inspire you, they confront you. The Barbarian Way, now celebrating its 20th anniversary, is one of those books. If you felt the pull of God towards something deeper and wilder than the safe, predictable version of faith that we settle for, McManus reminds us that following Jesus was never meant to be tame. It's meant to awaken courage, passion, and purpose God placed inside us. He draws from the wild stories of Abel, Noah, Moses, Rahab, and others to remind us that following God wasn't meant to be tame. Safe faith isn't working. Step into the story God is writing for you. Choose passion, choose boldness, choose the barbarian way. Available now wherever books are sold. Well, Bryan and Katie Torwalt are joining us today. The worship duo recently dropped their brand new album, I've Got Good News. Our very own downtown Emily Brown spoke with them about why it's important for Christians to be constantly reminded of good news, even if it's sometimes too good to believe, and how the recent season of life has changed the worship industry. Here's our conversation with Bryan and Katie Torwalt.
Okay, you said this was a quick turnaround. So how did this album come together, or when did this start coming together?
So the album process, we released a song last summer called Wouldn't It Be Like You? And I think when we came...
January.
Oh, it did, yeah.
We wrote it a while ago. We wrote it in 2020.
We recorded it in last summer.
Yeah.
And so that was a perfect example of something that took a lot longer than we expected. It just wasn't the right time. And it was just one song, but it released way after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
I think when the pandemic happened, as people that typically are on the road, leading worship, doing conferences, doing tours, whatever, we thought we're going to be home and we'll write and it'll be amazing. And I mean, we were going to use the best of that time to create,
Yeah.
And I think it took a lot longer to actually write and feel like we had something to say that was of value.
We just watched Netflix like the rest of everybody else. We didn't.
Yeah.
That's okay.
And we just, what are you going to say? Nobody has experienced anything like this. And I think there was a lot of people saying a lot of things. And so we just really felt like we were surprised by the fact that we just did not have a song, nothing was happening, nothing was coming out. And so it took us probably a full year almost to start really writing and feeling like we had a message that was worth sharing and asking other people to sing and recording and everything. And so when that happened, the very first song that came out was Wouldn't It Be Like You? We still didn't know, nobody knew, in this last couple of years, what it was going to be like as the church, as Christians, and just how Jesus was going to turn everything for good. What was that going to look like? And so, but that song began like this. It opened up something for us writing, and the rest of the album kind of flowed out of that same story of, it took us back to the Gospels ultimately, where Jesus of the Bible and of the Gospels, the red letter Jesus was different than some of the Christianity maybe that we have realized maybe is culturally Christianity more than it was how Jesus actually lived the last couple of years. So that's basically where the album got out of.
That's where it started. It started kind of us diving back into the Gospels, like Katie was just saying, us diving back into the words and the life of Jesus and some of the parables and the Sermon on the Mount and all those things. And we began to just write songs around us processing the Gospels again and what that might look like for 2022.
Mm-hmm.
So,
His kingdom is humble and the broken are blessed. Hallelujah, hallowed be your name. May we live and breathe your praise. And hallelujah, let all creation say, oh, the King of heaven reigns. Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
I want to talk about, the name of the album, and one of the songs is called Good News, which I think is just so important for 2022. So I'd like to know, what do you guys think it means to hear or experience good news in this time in history?
Yeah.
I think I even the backstory. I think we started writing these songs around the Gospels, and Katie, for almost the whole part of this process is she's like, I feel like we need to write a song that is around good news or is called Good News. And it doesn't necessarily have to be the title track. It doesn't necessarily, but we felt like that had to be part of the story because we're writing around like the Gospels of Jesus Christ, which is the good news. And so honestly, it's a song we tried to write like 5 different times with multiple different people. It ended up being one of the last few songs that we wrote, and we just kept trying until it felt right. And Katie can share more, but I love when we were talking about it. She's like, I want to almost show an emotion through the song. And we were really drawn to the passage of scripture in John 20, where Mary goes to the tomb to weep and to mourn, and she's in grief. And she's so, it's another one of those stories where all of a sudden it's like she doesn't recognize that Jesus shows up in the garden, and she's like, gardener, just thinks he's a gardener. Tell me where his body is. And it's not until he says her name, Mary, that she recognizes, oh, this is Jesus, this is the Lord. And she's filled with this feeling of relief and joy of just like, oh, I was expecting the worst news. I was coming to the tomb with the worst news imaginable, and I am like surprised in this sudden feeling of relief and joy that comes. And so I think we started to write this song and almost this album around that. And even the artwork, we ended up trying to display that emotion of like, oh, I've got good news. Like, I'm so relieved and overwhelmed with this joy of this good news after expecting bad news that I have to go share this good news. Does that make sense?
I got good news for the broken, for the hurting. He came for you, and you're hoping and you're searching. One thing remains true: Jesus is still our good news. I got good news.
But that's what I feel like one of the emotions that we wanted to convey with this record, of that, like he was talking about, that moment of relief. When you hear the good news of the gospel, when you hear this isn't it, when you hear, all this is not for nothing, when you hear like God is really good and the story isn't over. There's a Bible that we read to our little girl. We have a 3-year-old little girl, and it's called the Jesus Storybook Bible. And there's some crazy Old Testament stories in the Bible, like
there are.
The 3-year-old. There's like, okay, and Goliath fell and he was defeated. Like, we'll just leave it there because you're 3 for now. But one thing I really like about this Bible is that at the end of every story, from the very beginning, it ties to Jesus. So you're reading it through the lens of Jesus. And so we'll go through one of these Old Testament stories, but at the end, it'll be like, and someday a savior will come and wipe away every tear, and the ultimate rescuer, that will rescue us for eternity, and we'll get to be together. And I just think it's been really profound to me to read some of these stories again to her, really with that lens in mind, because I believe that's the way that we should see the world right now as Christians that have, that live in a new covenant, that have access to Jesus and are saved for eternity, that we get to experience some of these darker moments. And we get to we're living a human experience that is real, that is really difficult, and it's not promised to be easy at all. But we have a hope, and we have a source of life, and we have good news, because this is not all there is. And so it's that lens that you look through, while still not being in denial of like, hey, the world is crazy right now, and there's really dark, evil things happening, but there is a hope, and there's a future, and there's a story that is still being told, that through the lens of Jesus is a good story.
Freeing each soul that was bound up, loving the one who was unloved, giving mercy to sinners, and he still does. His love is as vast as an ocean. He cares for the poor and the orphan, the hero to suffer the one.
I would love to hear your thoughts on this. I think a lot of people, they can hear good news, but there's also that step of believing the good news. Because, even like Mary in the garden. You know, she sees Jesus, but she doesn't believe it's Jesus, like kind of that thing. So, you know, what would you say to someone who has heard the good news, but they're just struggling to believe that, or they just think it's like too good to be true? You know, like what would you say to them to encourage them?
It's really good.
Yeah, that's actually such a great question. I think that what we found over our years or what I found over the years of my like walk with Jesus is to not stop asking for him to just show up. And it's like, even in the moments when I don't even believe that he will, or I feel like my faith is not there, it's like, God, just open my eyes to recognize you in all of these moments. And a lot of the times it's like, okay, a year later, I look back and I'm like, oh, God was there in that moment. And sometimes it's so hard to see in the exact timing what God is actually doing and how he's with us. But the fact that he did promise, like, I will be with you, I will walk with you. And I think that is like one of our constant prayers. And one of the songs that we wrote that ended up going the farthest, which is called Holy Spirit, the bridge of that has been our prayer for this whole time, is let us become more aware of your presence. And I think there's something about like an openness to the awareness of what God is doing that helps us recognize him in ways that we wouldn't necessarily see it as being God. And it is those moments that we were just talking about, that like, even in the suffering, even in the hard times, those are the times when we have a hard time recognizing that he's part of it, until usually after the fact. And we realize, oh God, I felt his presence there. I realized that he was there. So I think to someone that is struggling with that belief or that's going through a hard time, it's just maybe pray that prayer. God, like, help me be aware of what you're doing in this season right now. Help me be aware of your presence in my life, in my family, how you're working and moving. I know we don't always understand, and that's definitely not a promise, is that we'll understand. That there will be mystery, but that God, that you would help open my eyes to where you're moving into your goodness in this season and moment in life.
Yeah, that's really good.
That's beautiful. I love that.
There's good news for the captive, a proclamation for every soul. This liberty is for the broken, an invitation to be made whole. Listen for the free man singing, he delivered me. Look out for the woman.
That was Bryan and Katie Torwalt. Make sure to check out their new album, I've Got Good News. Okay, stay tuned. Up next, it's your feedback. You're listening to Foals. The song is 2001. Can you believe that was 21 years ago? Crazy. Okay, it's time for your feedback. Now, it's been a while, so Jesse, help me remember. The question we asked our listeners, our dear, dedicated listeners that have stayed to the end of the show, what we asked them was, what's the most absurd thing you've ever done to prevent boredom? Do you remember the genesis of that question?
I'm assuming it was because we just had a gut feeling they were going to go a couple weeks without a pod, and we wanted them to be proactive in their thinking. That's what I think
it was like back in the 80s when we just had to go outside and we made forts and we lit stuff on fire. I think we were talking about that kind of stuff.
Threw rocks.
It had something to do with
like a main hobby for people.
Childhood.
Yeah, in the pre-internet 90s childhood, we're just kind of like having to fill the summer. And I think that's kind of what we were talking about. All right. So there you go. You hit us up on Twitter at Relevant Podcast, and here are a few of our favorites.
Well, this just confirms my suspicions. It said, refresh the feed, waiting for the new episode. Well, obviously, that's
smart. We did our best.
Who said that? No, we didn't. We literally said, we're not even going to try. But like, this is going to be too difficult. I'm in Wyoming. Jesse's sick. Yeah. We literally put in zero effort, Tyler. We did.
This is great. No,
we could have tried.
This is a good answer to this question because this really does sound like the height of boredom. Is David says, I once watched Return of the Jedi backwards while lying on the ground with my toe on the VCR's rewind button because I felt like seeing the movie that way instead of rewinding it. So if I'm reading this right, he watched, I'm assuming on a VCR, on a VHS tape, he watched Return of the Jedi. At some point, he put it in, he realized he was still at the end credits, and instead of rewinding it, he just held his toe down on the rewind button and watched the entirety of Return of the Jedi in fast motion all the way backwards. Yeah, that's
you're bored.
Peak bored. Some bored summer.
That's a peak bored summer. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
That's concerningly bored, in my opinion. That's yeah. I mean,
we need an intervention.
I feel like that's just going to increase the boredom, and you're going to be uncomfortable because you've extended your big toe.
Okay, so again, I'm thinking we're talking about childhood summer boredom, right? That's in my brain. Becca Rankin says, made a video application for Survivor after binge watching it. I'm thinking, like any 12-year-old would. And she goes, lockdown was a strange time. She just did this. She literally was binging Survivor during lockdown, and as a full-grown adult, made it.
Hey, if you're in lockdown and you see people on like a foreign island, I get it. I would love to go.
That's true.
If I got to be locked down somewhere.
And it's a free trip. It's a terrible trip, but it's a free trip.
And how many seasons is she talking? Because I'm pretty sure that show has been on since I've been like 5 years old.
I think it has like 40 seasons. It is something insane.
Oh my gosh. I wonder if she binge watched the entire thing. That would be amazing. That should be her entire application video. I have watched every episode. Like she's like the one person who stuck it out. All right.
I really liked Molly's, which is watched 11 straight seasons of Seventh Heaven, which has virtually no identifiable plot. And as someone who has not seen a single episode since it went off air in, I don't even know, early 2000s, I don't know if I remember the plot either. It was about a family, Christian.
He was like a pastor, right?
Pastor?
Yeah.
Dad was a pastor?
Yeah, Dad was a pastor.
Life as a pastor's family.
I will say Seventh Heaven sounds like a pretty uneventful show. It sounds like everything's going great. You know, like if it was Seventh Hell,
it's called Seventh Heaven.
That sounds pretty eventful.
Right. Aren't there 7 rings of hell or something? Yeah.
I think that seems more maybe that's where it comes from. Yeah. I don't know. I'm shocked to learn there were 11 seasons of that show. That's 11
seasons of no plot.
Yeah, but that was the This Is Us of the 90s.
Yeah.
It was just kind of like you got to know this family, you saw the kids grow up, you just wanted to see what happens to them, and it just kept going. Like, yeah.
What's that pitch meeting even like? This show is about a family. That's all we got.
I'll say this.
No, he's a pastor, right? So they don't use contraception, and they have 7 kids.
And they're like, well, what's the hook? Well, they're disproportionately attractive to most of society. Just a remarkably attractive family that we're just going to kind of follow along with.
Yeah. One of them will marry Justin Timberlake in later seasons. So if we can hang on that long, that'll be good.
I totally forgot about that. That's funny.
Maybe I should do a Seventh Heaven rewatch because now I'm interested.
I think you should. And I think you
Molly is describing it as being something she only did because she was so bored. So that's not
Again,
like
a lot of these things. A lot of these things seems like they would increase boredom.
I think we need to send Molly some Netflix recommendations because there's better options than watching 11 straight seasons of Seventh Heaven.
Even on Netflix? Like, where do you stream that?
Pure Flix.
Yeah, probably one.
She
of
has
those.
Pure Flix Premium. Like, she can get Seventh Heaven, also 11 seasons.
I can't quite wrap my head around how this one worked. So Berto says, my cousin and I created a new language to communicate amongst the guys, but have opened it up to the ladies high school senior year of 2014. It's called, I'm going to try this, Establishi.
There you go.
But the I is silent.
Establishi or establish.
Establish.
There you go.
Let me know if you want to learn.
Well, I have a bad feeling that her secret language is just adding I's to the end of words that already exist and saying the I is silent. Because it looks to me like your secret language is just called establish, which I got news for you. That's already a word. Like, you can't just add I's to things and say it's secret language.
Kara Higgins says she went to the top of the neighborhood hill and would spray Dawn dish soap right down before a rainstorm. And then she said it was epic because then, you wet the hill, you can slide. I had a lot of shenanigans when I was bored with dish Dawn dish soap. Like me and my friends would sneak out at night.
I would get every pot and pan pristine. It was so fun.
We would go to like the grocery store and buy all of it. We would buy every Dawn that we could, and we'd go to like the fountains in front of apartment complexes and stuff, or hot tubs at an apartment complex, and we just dump it full of Dawn. And then when they turn on the fountain or turn on the hot tub, it just explodes. It's hilarious. I shut down roads. It was great.
I burned up so many hot tub motors doing that. It was just a real gas.
Yeah, I wasn't. Yeah. My pranks were hilarious to me and me alone, and not to the residents of the Fairfield apartment complex. So anyway, all right. Well, there's a lot more that came from. If you want to check it out, just go check out the replies at Relevant Podcast on Twitter. Okay, it's time for this week's
editorial question of the week.
The whole Stranger Things making Kate Bush number 1 on all the charts got us thinking about what other kind of iconic favorite songs that maybe you have in your life that you think something, a viral clip on TikTok or a movie should propel back into the cultural zeitgeist. What's the song that you want everybody to love as much as you love it? Tell us. We'll play some clips on the show next week. I mean, you had
Toto's Africa, like that was a couple years that had
Cranberry
really
Juice sold out because of that skateboarder. You know, I mean, like,
oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. Fleetwood Mac had Dreams come back, and there's always, it seems like one you get about one a year. This is going to be the year of Kate Bush. I guess we'll see what people pick for 2023. What's going to be the next one?
Yeah, but let's listen to a couple when we get these.
Yo, absolutely.
Yeah, we'll make a playlist.
Yeah.
We can put a little.
What if somebody says Will Smith's Wild Wild West?
Based on
what's going to be the thing that brings that back into the nest?
Yeah, you can't. What if you put that in a different movie? Like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Just like an A24 drama, just for no reason.
Wild Wild West starts playing. Like what? I love it. All right. Well, before we wrap things up, I want to once again thank Bryan and Katie Torwalt for joining us today. Make sure to check out their brand new album, I've Got Good News. It's on all streaming platforms. Also, a little reminder, make sure to check out Relevant Plus. The Relevant Plus subscription gives you access to a ton of exclusive features, extra podcasts, ad-free content, and more. You can find out all the information and sign up on our website. It's as little as $2.50 a month, I believe, maybe $2.99 a month. You get you get an early released edition of this podcast, also ad-free as part of Relevant Plus. So if you like this show, but you don't like all the promos, go check out Relevant Plus. Also, while you're there at the site, get a good look at the latest digital issue of Relevant. We feature conversations with Channing Tatum, Ryan Reynolds, Shauna Niequist, Brooke Ligerwood, and so many more amazing, fascinating people. You can read the ad-supported free version by clicking the magazine tab, and Relevant Plus members get an enhanced edition ad-free as well. You can go check that out. All right. Hey, and if you want to stay in touch with everything relevant or are the best stuff we're putting out, sign up for the Relevant Daily Newsletter. You get an email in your inbox every morning with our top 5 trending stories. It's a great way to keep your finger on the pulse of what's happening at Relevant. You can sign up right there on the homepage or on any of the article pages at relevantmagazine.com. And follow Relevant on all the socials to kind of not miss a thing. We're on Twitter and Facebook all day long. We're on Instagram occasionally and TikTok rarely, but we're on all of them. So make sure to follow along. We're at Relevant or at Relevant Magazine. Okay, on that note, we'll wrap it up. I'm Cameron Strang.
I'm Jess Gary.
I'm Emily Brown.
Tyler Huckabee.
All right, we'll see you next time. Have a great week, everyone.
Thanks for listening to the Relevant Podcast. Check out our features, interviews, and news updates every day at relevantmagazine.com. And make sure to follow Relevant on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for the latest. For more great podcasts, browse the shows on the Relevant Podcast Network, which you can find at our site. And while you're there, don't miss the all-new era of Relevant Magazine. A new issue releases every other month at relevantmagazine.com.
It's like the Peloton instructor of water bottles.
Relevant Podcast Network.
Time is precious, and so are our pets. So time with our pets is extra precious. That's why we started Dutch. Dutch provides 24/7 access to licensed vets with unlimited virtual visits and follow-ups for up to 5 pets. You can message a vet at any time and schedule a video visit the same day. Our vets can even prescribe medication for many ailments, and shipping is always free. With Dutch, you'll get more time with your pets and year-round peace of mind when it comes to their vet care. Go to Dutch.com to get vet care that is always there for just $92 a year.